This morning, our spotlight shines in the face of Al Edmonson and Edmonson Communications. We say good morning to you.
Good morning, my brother.
How's it going today?
I'm abundantly blessed and trying to stay warm.
I know that's right. A little chilly out there, huh?
More than chilly.
More than chilly. Yeah, it's kind of cold. Yes, Edmonson Communications. We know that you guys do a wonderful job, and a lot of people really don't know how to even deal with making recordings. And just this morning, a guy called me up, and he's talking about he has a wonderful song and want to know if we can just play it on the radio. And I had to share with him, there's a lot of things that go into place before a song actually gets played on the radio. And you represent distribution and so much more.
Yes.
Let's start right there.
Okay, we have been actually 43 years in the industry myself. So Edmonson Communications is 15 years old. And, you know, the beginning of the music industry, as you and I talked earlier this morning, technology has changed in radio and in recordings. And many people today, when they want to record a record because of technology again, they can go into their basement and get some Microsoft tools and come up with a project and burn off a CD and think, you know, radio is going to play that.
Right.
And they're not. The process is, once your music is recorded, you are assigned a ISRC number.
Yes.
Okay? Many radio stations today will not replay your music if your music does not have an ISRC. And also your music must be encoded. Now, what does encoded mean? You are a BDS reporter now. Okay, congratulations. And there also is a media-based chart, okay, which is part of All Access. So in order for your music to chart, your music has to be encoded. So you have to have the IRC number, you have to have the publishing information, you've got to have the writer, all this information you must have when your product is encoded. Now, and also when you send it out to radio stations, if you're doing it MP3 wise, because the IRC number is the key for you to get your royalties. Okay? Now, once your project is encoded and everything and it's mailed out to the radio station, many people, when they go into the recording studio, they don't think about a budget.
No, they don't.
You have to have a budget for the following. You need a budget for radio national promotions. You need a budget for PR, public relations, and you need a budget for marketing. Now, there are a lot of independent record labels out here that produce product just as good as the major labels. But you don't have to have the type of money that the major labels have. All you have to do is make sure that you have all those components that we mentioned about. And what Edmonson Communications does is we sit with you and try to help you come up with a budget that can fit your needs to do what you need to be done. In the music industry today, it takes at least 6 months to get your music on the air nationally, get the spins increased, get the rotations up, get the different marketing plans, because going to distribution is not going to touch your project until your project's been out there at least 6-7 weeks. And you have to have a strategy with that. And once all the components are together, what we do at our company is bi-weekly. Every client that I represent, I bring in their team and my team, and we have a bi-weekly conference call that's scheduled. And we talk about charts, we talk about marketing, we talk about PR, and we all come together because it's like mapping out a war strategy, really. It's a big marketing campaign that you have to make sure that your record is out there and your record is doing. Everybody thinks that you can record and it goes into Walmart. Walmart now has changed their system. You've got to pay for rack space. Target's not getting involved with gospel music that much anymore. We don't have the brick and mortar stores that we used to have. And going to to the key part, radio. Radio, when you and I first started around this industry, it was totally different. A lot of the African American, or we call black radio stations at that time, either have been sold. They're either talk radio, they're either Hispanic radio, or the conglomerate has taken over. And what I mean by conglomerate, I'm talking about the iHeart Medias which own like 11,000 properties.
Yes.
I'm talking about, which is Clear Channel. I'm talking about Radio 1, and I'm talking about Cumulus. Those are the big three. And there's also one more, MS Broadcasting. Those companies, radio people, they have a criteria, each one of them. And, they're not going to touch your music, not unless you're into the top 50, top 40. When you look at a station like Highway 11, which has been one of the stations for years that have given people the opportunity to play their music, and a lot of times you have been first. By the time some of the big majors get on the record, you've already been 23, 24 weeks out on it already.
I tell people all the time that when we say we bring you more new music first, we're serious. We're serious. And lots of times we play it, and then by the time it hits to, like you said, all the majors. A point, an example. Some years ago, Kirk Franklin had the song, The Reason Why I Sing. I mean, it was a hot song. We played the song and played the song. The church world, they loved it, okay? It crossed over, okay? And then once it crossed over, then now all of a sudden the big companies get it, and I done played the song for almost a year.
Yeah.
Now they're coming back and sending me, well, this is I done moved on to something else. This is The Reason Why We Sing. It's a hot new song by Kirk Franklin, and we want you guys to start programming this. I said, no. We already played the song. It's just new to you,
yes,
but we already played it for a year. So a lot of folks don't understand. We play a lot of new music first, and once we get it and we put it out there, there's so much coming out. We keep moving, and we don't go back just to satisfy some of these people.
Right. And, artists have to understand one thing. It's hard to be an artist. You're going to be the manager. You're going to head the label. You have to have people that have insight and do research on those people that you're bringing in, because there are a lot of people out there that will tell you various things, and they're just taking your money.
Yeah.
And then 3 or 4 months down the road, sometimes I look at Edmonson Communications as a hospital, because I get calls from people. Well, I've been burned and I need your help now, and this, that, and the other. And then when it comes down to the dollars amount, they can't do it, or they're hemming and hawing. We try to work with them, but music today is different. It changes. And you just mentioned the point about crossover. Okay, artists today, when they come out with music, their first concern is about being crossover. Well, first of all, let's talk about the gospel base that you have to build.
There you go.
Building a gospel base, and then you're talking about going over to CCM. CCM, the dollars for CCM are 3 times more than what the gospel radio budget is. And the thing about it is, are you going to get played on CCM? And then the other thing that people want to do, well, we want to be heard on the urban stations. That's a little bit harder also, because a base has to be built. And those program directors and music directors aren't going to play your project, because they're seeing the charts that come out every Monday. They're reviewing, they're seeing what's going on. And I have to give a compliment to Robin McCullough.
Yes.
Okay? Robin McCullough is probably the hardest, most thorough music director that I've seen in the music industry in a long time.
Yes, she is.
Because one of the first ones that I knew of was Barry Mayo. When you know what Barry Mayo did, how he just grew in the industry and became president of Radio 1 at one time. Well, Barry, back in the days, in the 70s and early 80s, was a geek with research. Robin, every chart that I receive, I send to Robin. And Robin breaks those charts down, and she studies them. And she, in conversation, she tells me how much she appreciates the charts, and because in order for her to have quality music coming over the airways, you've got to know what's going on.
Got to know, and she knows.
Yeah, because people can, we live in a hype society.
Yes, yes.
I just sold 12,000 records. You go to the charts.
The charts tell you the truth.
The charts will tell you just what you sold this week. So you don't have to hype, because it can come back and bite you.
But you know what, one thing, Al, travelers who are just joining us, Fred Blain with you. We're talking with Al Edmonson from Edmonson Communications. We're talking about gospel music today and what people need to do to get their music, if they want their music to be played and to go somewhere, and the steps they really need to take, because we get phone calls all the time about people trying to get their music to go a certain place. They don't know how to do it. And Al, phone number folks can call you to assist?
Our office number is 610-459-1216. That's 610-459-1216. And we also have a website, Edmonson Communications. You can check us out.
We want to help some people. They want to record, they want to do some certain things, but they don't have the information. All they know is my cousin, Skeeter Bob, he has a studio in his basement, and he can put this together, he can put that together, and when I get it, I'm just going to take it up to the radio station and they're going to play it. It don't work that way.
No.
It doesn't work that way. I've talked to many people. They had some secular person to put their ears on it and their hands on it. When it comes out, it sounds like that secular person would like for it to sound, but the gospel flavor is totally gone. And you want to circulate that through a gospel community. There's problems.
Yeah. Some people, the important thing of quality. One of the key things that a program director, a music director, or a station manager is concerned about is what goes over his towers, his signals. It must be quality music, must be quality sound. When you cut corners, it comes back to bite you. When you have people telling you, and I go back to my days of working with Barry White, in 20th Century, and Barry White told me one day in the studio, he says, Al, understand one thing. Only one star was born, the rest were created. Okay? And that's always stuck with me. And the other thing, Fred, that I've also found out over my years in the industry, and this has been stayed with me, Georgie Woods, a man who helped me get started, told me one day that you've got to understand that everybody's not going to like your music. And I understand that today because there are clients that call me and I listen to their music. And I said, before we talk, let me listen to your music. And what I do, not only do I listen to it, I let my staff listen to it. Is this something that we can work with? And if it's not, then I give them the reasons why we can't. And quality sometimes is the reason.
Yeah.
It's quality, it's budget. They think that, they can just make a record and bring it to a radio station, and a radio station's supposed to play it. Especially, one of the hardest things for people to understand in the music industry today is about getting music played in their hometown.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because everybody wants to be heard in their hometown. And some of these places where we go around the country, those markets are real tough markets. And we thank God for Highway 11, where Highway 11 is positioned now and getting national recognition from the chart people. I mean, when I look down at those charts on Monday and see a Highway 11, it's a smile.
Great.
Because
thank the Lord.
At one time when I seen those charts, I just had a red magic marker and I would just go right through Philadelphia.
I hear you. It's just a blessing to be recognized.
Yes. I think in the Philadelphia market where, I was born and raised in this market, to work with Frank Virtue, to work with Joe Tarsi and them at Sigma Sound, to work with Bernie Grunman, one of the top engineers in Los Angeles. Your ears become trained.
Yes.
And when you hear what Fred Hammond and the rest of these guys, they want to hear the same. They want to hear their music a certain way, the way that it is, and also that helps them when they go out on live performances and everything. You want the sound to be, it won't be exactly the same, but it can be even enhanced better in a live performance.
So true. They can reproduce it on the floor.
Right.
Yeah.
But see, so many people today don't understand the process, and we have to talk about this Philadelphia market. There's some diamonds in the rough.
Yes,
in the music industry
here
in Philadelphia that need to be acknowledged.
That's what this is all about. That's what this conversation is all about, because Philadelphia has a rich heritage of gospel music.
Absolutely.
And we have a lot of people who are coming up who are very talented, who are just anointed by God, but a lot of their things get into the wrong hands of the wrong people and just kind of puts the fire out, extinguishes their joy and everything else because they place their things in the wrong hands.
That's right.
We're back now as our Friday Gospel Spotlight here on the Highway Gospel Highway 11. And the spotlight is shining into the face of Al Edmonson from Edmonson Communications. And we're talking about you and getting your music into the marketplace and how the process is and how it used to be and how it is today. And before the break, we were talking about how Philadelphia has a rich heritage of great gospel music, a lot of great artists in this particular town. But some of them are just going down the wrong path to try to get their music produced.
That's right.
So let's take it back from the beginning. A person says they know that the Lord has blessed them to be able to sing. They sing in their local church, and people seem to always enjoy them where they minister, and people ask them to come sing solos different places, and they say to themselves, you know what, and other folks have been saying, you got anything out there? You got anything out there? They say, well, you know what? I think I need to try and do a recording with somebody or do something. What's the first thing they do?
First thing they need to do is get some good quality material. That's the key. Once you get some good quality material, now some people will think because they sing in the church, they're a musician in the church, they can produce. Okay. Once again, it goes back to the ear. You've got to have the producer is actually like the chef in the kitchen who's telling you what ingredients to put into the pot to make this dish good. So you have to have a producer. It doesn't have to be one of the top 10 producers, but there's some good producers in the Philadelphia area that can help you. When we look at Fred, Philadelphia, we look at in the 80s, Philadelphia was hot on the market, the tri-state area, with choirs. You had Tri-State Mass. You had Wilmington Chester Mass Choir. You had Philly Mass. And when you have people like Brother James Ford, Gerald Wesson, just to name those two, and there's some more out there, that know what the industry is all about. And some people get carried away when they're listening to a radio station, and that radio station saying that we're having a conference and a panel.
Yes.
And we're going to have John Doe there, and we're going to have this one there and that one there. And, you register for $55 and come out, and you'll learn all you need to know about the music industry. Well, my brother, that's getting ripped off.
Wow, yeah.
Okay? Yeah. There's people sitting up at those panels that don't even have a clue. Okay? And, to get your music started, you got to have good quality material, a good producer. Once again, you got to have good quality production in the studio. Spend the bucks to go into a studio. There's some studios out here that I know that are as low as $50 an hour. That's not bad. When you start going up to the bigger ones, can be $200. Like I say, create a budget of what you're going to create a budget, because do it in phases. Okay, this is phase 1, my production of the CD. Phase 2, my radio promotion. Now, once the radio promotion has been put in place, what about, my music getting into the stores and, the internet and everything? That's the other move that you got to make, because that's a marketing campaign.
Yes.
And Fred, there's a lot of people out here that don't understand that there are over 454 radio stations, not including internet, that are out there today.
Yes.
That will play your music. But you've got people out there who claim to be radio promoters, who tell you they can get your music played and on those stations and show you no type of documentation.
Wow.
It's all hearsay.
Yes.
Okay? What we do with Edmonson Communications is bi-weekly, every other Monday morning by 8 o'clock, you have a tracking sheet showing you where your music's being played. Then, for the reporting stations, we break it down and send you copies of what's being played on MediaBase and report it, and what's being reported on BDS.
Yes, that's so very important. And also, I need to say that a lot of people don't understand when it comes to doing this music. I've been saying this for years. Your larger companies, they don't make artists.
No.
They take artists.
That's right.
Okay. A lot of people will go out there and get their CD, and they say, well, it's packaged good, looks good. And then here they go knocking on the doors of the, like Motown Gospel now, or EMI, or some of the other names, Verity, before they change their name. They go knocking on those doors and say, here's my CD, and the door they knock on never comes open.
Yeah, and the phone call they make never gets answered.
Never gets answered. And I share with people all the time that those large companies out there, they do not make artists, they take artists. And what do I mean about that? By that, they wait to see what you have done. They wait to see how many units you have sold.
Right.
Before, and if you haven't sold a certain amount of units to qualify for them, it doesn't even matter. You don't even exist.
You're not on the radar.
Right, not on the radar. That's a nice way to put it.
Because sound scan, because that barcode that's on your music, when that barcode gets flashed every time something is sold. So the guy who's in the marketing department at one of those big major label companies,
yes,
when they're looking at the sound scan reports every week, oh, who's this guy, Fred Blain, from this so-and-so? We need to start talking with these people. Get them on the radar.
They're moving units.
Yeah, they're moving units. Because, see, people don't understand, and I've been saying this for the past 3 years, and it has come to be the truth. Independent record labels are making a move in the music industry. You look at Central South, what they've been doing under the leadership of Vicky Mack. You look at just last Sunday, you see what happened at the Grammys. Independent labels won the majority of the awards, and people don't know that.
That's right.
Those major labels, a lot of heads are going to roll, and I would love to be a fly on some of those marketing meetings this week. Okay, but if you can do things yourself and build your own platform as an independent artist and it takes time, and as you can continue to build, believe me, you will get on the screen, with the radar screen, with those major. Does it always have to be a major label to put you over? God may open up plenty of doors in your ministry so you can remain an independent artist and make, a lot of independent artists don't understand that you can make more money this way doing that, especially when you understand the publishing side of the industry.
You have to get your homework in.
Because that's where the money, when you're gathering that material, you got to make sure that music is published correctly so you can get your royalties and everything. And people just don't understand. They'll run down to Pennsylvania Convention Center to find out and be a part of this convention for 2 or 3 days and come out knowing nothing but being broke.
That's true. Now, there's another level to this thing that I think some people just don't understand. We're always instructed to brighten the corner where you are. Okay, you have some people who, when I was one of the judges for Sunday Best, and we had people step up and they had just about a minute to sing a portion of a song. And I'm sure everybody in that room, about 800 people in the room, they probably sing so well in their church, so anointed in their church. But some people don't realize, that may be where your ministry is.
That's right.
Okay? And some people don't realize that there is no particular formula to make it to the top.
That's right.
And some folks figure, if I do this, I do that, then one day my name's going to be out there in lights. A lot of people who names in lights now never knew this was going to ever happen to them.
That's true.
Okay?
It's all a building process. When you sign with a major label, or you want to start a record company, or it's like any other business plan, you got to have a 3 to 4 year type of business plan.
Yes.
In that 2 to 3 years or 4 years, where you can produce maybe 2 or 3 albums. Each one is a step higher. I'll give you a good example of a local artist in this area, okay? There's a project that we're working on right now with Conrad Miller. Okay? For Conrad to go to the next step, we had to go get Earl Bynum.
Yes.
We had to go get Michi.
Yes.
Okay? Michi is finishing up now, mixing and mastering the first single to come out. You gotta, everything you do has to be better. You can't keep the same producer. You can't stay there doing the same thing over and over, and all it is the same sound and nothing happening.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So you got to have good people. You got to have the right type of music. And one thing you just mentioned, and you and I have talked about this at lunch several times. Many people don't know, when you send your records into a music director or program director, 99% of the time, that music director or program director in a major market is not going to listen to no more than 1 minute and 10 seconds of that project.
If it don't grab you right away.
And if it don't grab you in the first 1 minute, by.
Yeah, like the late Reverend James Cleveland talked about the hook of the song.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something that's going to be in that song that's going to grab you, that make you want to sing that song. That's why a lot of his songs were so popular, because people could get the hook and the gist of the song to keep it moving. For a lot of music that comes out today, some folks don't realize you may have a project that is really, really good, but the time frame that it comes into a radio station, at that time they may not be looking for what you sent in.
Right.
So that's going to cause it also to kind of get on the shelf, because certain times of year programmers look for certain types of music. You may have a song that's dear to you, but a programmer just got 20 songs that's just like yours.
That's right.
Okay. And we have a lot of songs that come out. I'm going to say this. I have a lot of songs that come out that always talk about me, myself, and I.
Instead of Jesus.
The songs don't have nothing to do with God. They talk about, I'm going through this. This is my problem. This is going on. That's going on. Where is God going to get his just due in the music? Now, if I get 20 songs talking about my miseries, my sadness, my woes, and he going to bring me out of this, you know, and all these downer songs. Then I get a song that says, you know, lift him up, the Lord is worthy to be praised. Which one do you think is going to get on?
One is worthy to be praised.
Yes, that's what's going to happen. In the wintertime, we get a lot of certain music. And then the summertime, the springtime, we get a lot of music. Can you imagine springtime and summertime, and all the music coming in is just drab and laid back?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So what do you think I'm looking for in the springtime, in the summertime? Am I looking for a song that's kind of slow and laid back? No. The weather has changed. Everyone is jumping, trying to get things together. So I'm looking for some type of music that's going to be inspiring and uplifting tempo-wise. So we have to look for, of course, content is the major part of the
Absolutely.
song. What's being said, okay? The way it's been produced. And then at certain times, we look for certain type of tempo songs, okay? And then at times like now, choir songs, you know? Choir songs right now, you know.
Coming back.
Yes. So there's a lot that goes into this. So when a person walks up with their particular song and their song does not get any recognition, it could be for many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't talk about that.
Right. Now, first of the year, the first quarter, is when many of your new artists are dropping their projects out there. Okay? Radio promoters, record promoters should also talk to their peers.
Yes.
Because we all listen to one another's music. We try to encourage one another and help one another out. And that all started here in Philadelphia, where the Philadelphia record promotion people worked together and helping one another. And it wasn't like fighting one another to get your music on the air. And I just thank God for stations like Highway 11. Now that this radio station is now being recognized internationally and on the radar of the people at one time who did not have Highway 11 on their radar. But now being a part of that BDL's Nielsen, Highway 11's big.
We thank the Lord for it. We're talking with Al Edmonson from Edmonson Communications. We're talking about you and your music in the Philadelphia area and surrounding areas, and by way of the internet. If you're looking to make a project, put a project out there, you have to do it right. A lot of things have changed, and you need to get information. You need to get, first of all, you need to get educated before you even step out to waste your money or waste someone else's money, okay? You need to get the proper information, and Al Edmonson, he so graciously came in to share with us today. I know a lot of people, they want to put some projects out there this year. They want to do some things. They need to do it right, and he has the information for you to do it right.
We have working relationships with two of the big gospel distributors, New Day Christian Distributor in Nashville and Central South. You don't want to be putting albums out there that are $12 and $13. Nobody knows you. Stay $9.99, and these are some of the things that we consult and tell people.
Right.
And so you got to learn how to package. If you do things right, as the Bible says, decent and in order, sit down with someone who knows this industry, someone who can guide you and show you the way, and then you won't have those headaches in the past.
Al Edmonson, how can people get in touch with you once again?
610-459-1216. That's 610-459-1216. And we also have a website under Edmonson Communications.